Hey guys, welcome to the Nate Take. My name is Nathan. Today we're going to take a look at this old Harbor Freight engine hoist here. I'm going to be using it on a project coming up here pretty soon, so we're going to just go over it, make sure it's working, and I figured you guys might want to join me and watch me go through the process. I'm going to be covering some stuff that applies to just regular bottle jacks as well, so if you have a bottle jack that's not working for some reason, this video will have some useful information in it for you. Let's go ahead and get started on it. Alright, so here it is up close. It's a 2-ton engine hoist. As you see right there, it's adjustable down to half ton depending on how far out you're picking up. It's got an 8-ton long ram bottle jack in it here, and I have the legs for it, but I did get everything. The only thing I didn't get was the handle for the actual bottle jack, which to replace that I'm going to use this little metal pipe here that I got. So that'll fit in there, that'll work just fine. Well, a couple things that I've noticed is that the pressure release valve here is chewed up. So somebody's really cranked on that with a set of pliers. Also on the other side down here on the bottom, the little nut on the other side of this bolt, they replaced it, and they replaced it with the wrong thread. So it's only on by like half of a thread, which I'm gonna have to replace that. I'll either get a whole new bolt, probably a grade 8 with matching nut, or what I might do is I might replace this one up here with a pin, because this here is supposed to be movable. Replace it with a pin like what's down here on the feet. I'll have to see if I'm gonna do that. For now, today, I'm just gonna make sure that it's working, and then I'll replace this before I actually use it to lift anything heavy. So, first steps first, let's grab a pair of pliers to get to that. I'm just going to turn this all the way to the right, make sure that's good and tight. And we're going to see if it will lift up. It seems very loose, like it's only actually lifting right here. So this up here does absolutely nothing. So it's a very loose bottle jack. All right, so that's great news. This here's holding fine. I do not like all this slop in here though. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna see about draining the fluid out and putting new fluid in, because I did buy some hydraulic fluid. So let's go ahead and do that. And the first step is to lower the ram all the way down. Obviously out from underneath the arm, because I don't feel like getting hit in the head today. And then we're just going to slowly crack this open. I'm going to actually put a hand on it just to try to slow it down slightly if it does decide to go too quick. Doesn't look like it is. All right, so now it's going down. It's nice and slow. That's good. That is good. So I'm just going to put some weight on it here to encourage it along. And there we go. Now that's bottomed out. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the jack off just so that we can fill it up easily, because obviously here's the fill port and we can't get to it with the crane itself in the way. All right, now taking it off is super easy. For this particular one, it's just going to be a 15/16 socket, and I'm going to use these because I don't have an open-end wrench large enough to fit the nut. And we're just going to loosen, not going to drop our sockets. We're going to just loosen this up so we can pull those bolts out. It's actually really loose already, so possibly somebody's taken this off before. Maybe they tried to fix it. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, that was super loose. This one down here. Okay, this one I got to hold because this one's jammed on because they replaced that nut. I'll show you. What are we doing here? Uh-oh. Hopefully this one isn't jammed on too tight. There we go. Oh yeah, that's definitely wrong thread. Yeah, they marred up the threads of the bolt just a little bit. Okay, so it's on, the nuts are off, so we just got to slide these bolts out. In order to do that, I'm gonna have to lift up on this just to take the weight off so the bolt can actually slide out so it's not bound up. Then down here, pick up on the bottom of the jack, pull that bolt out. Now notice they are different size bolts, longer one on the bottom. All right, so in order to take this out, I'm just gonna pick up on this. This is gonna be heavy, so just make sure you don't drop it. Pull it out, slowly let that back down. We're gonna work on this in the bed of the truck. On your bottle jack, if you're working on this specific one, it should be the same. But if you're working on just a regular bottle jack, but this here is going to be our fill port. Okay. Now this one here is a rubber plug. Some jacks, bottle jacks, it's going to be a screw. I actually like the screw better just because it's easier to get in and out. But this here is not too terrible. You just pick up on it. You don't want to use pliers. You can break the rubber. If you have to, then you have to, but you may have to replace the little plug. Just work it around, and there it goes, comes right out. So in order to fill a bottle jack like this, the piston has to be fully compressed in. If you try to fill it with the piston out, that's going to be inaccurate. It's not going to work properly after the fact. There's just one more thing real quick I'm going to cover again. You got to use hydraulic fluid, hydraulic oil. It's the only thing that you can use. Regular engine oil will not work. I tried that once. It does not work. It will not work. Don't waste your time with it. This here is going to be the only thing you want to get. Now some places they sell hydraulic oil for jacks. Whatever it works, hydraulic oil is hydraulic oil. AW32 is what I picked up because that's what my store had. So in order to drain this, we're going to want to drain it into a container that we can safely dispose of it in. Again, it's hydraulic fluid. It's not something you want to pour out on the ground somewhere. So let me go grab a container. I want to move you guys back here just a little, just so you can see what's going to happen here. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this engine oil catch pan. Make sure you don't lose your plug. I'm going to use this engine oil catch pan here. Nice big area to pour it out into. I'm not going to worry about spilling it. And then basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour it out of this hole. I'm not going to get all of it out, but I'm going to try to get as much of it as I can. There it goes. So I'm going to just let that sit there. Well, now is probably a good time for me to tell you a little bit about my plans for this channel. If you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, I'm sure you've noticed I haven't posted here for a little over a year now. There's a lot of reasons behind that. Big one of that is that I had a child born a couple of months ago, and that's really taken up a lot of my time. Also, just the whole pandemic, whatever you want to call it, that's been going on this past year is it's kept me very busy at work, which I'm very grateful for. I'm very grateful to have a job that during this whole time, I'm grateful to live in a state that's not telling me I can't work. So I've been extremely busy and completely unable to spend any time really working on YouTube. However, now that's starting to slow down, and I'm going to start putting more effort into this. You guys may have already noticed one major change I made, and that's that I upgraded 2 pieces of gear, very important pieces of gear for my channel. Actually got a new camera. Went with the GoPro Hero 9 Black. I want to have content that I produce that's of a high quality. And honestly, I was not very satisfied with my last camera. It was a GoPro, it was an old one, it was a Hero 3 Silver. The other thing I upgraded is I got a Rode lapel mic. This is the Rode Go wireless. It's an absolutely wonderful microphone. The sound quality is amazing. And the new camera that I got goes right along with the microphone and gives me the ability to shoot much higher quality video. All my videos in the past have been 1080p maximum, and this camera can do 4K if I choose to go there. Now, right now, I'm not going to be able to do 4K video because my computer is not designed to handle 4K video. So if I ever make that change, I'll have to upgrade my computer as well. And until then, I'm just going to keep shooting at a lower resolution. This one here I'm doing right now is 1440, so it's slightly higher. You may not notice it very much, but the picture quality and the sound quality should be a lot better. So that's a huge change that I made. And also another thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making some changes to the channel itself. It's not going to be the same type of content as you're used to seeing. It's still going to have a lot of car stuff because I love working on cars. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I think I just bought a 93 Ford Ranger that I'm going to fix up and sell. Or maybe I'll end up keeping it. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm going to be doing a video series on that. We try to cover as much of that as I can. Still got stuff. I got to do some work on my truck that you've seen before, right? 2006 Ford F-150. You're going to still see a lot of automotive. Make sure this is still draining. You're still going to see a lot of automotive content, but there's also going to be other stuff as well. Like one of my passions is woodworking. I love woodworking, and I'm definitely going to be doing some woodworking videos. So the other thing that I'm doing is I'm actually expanding on other platforms. So far I've been exclusively on YouTube. I'm going to keep uploading to YouTube. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere yet. I don't want to leave YouTube. However, some of the videos I want to do, YouTube doesn't want to host. So those are going to have to be on another platform. I'm going to go and upload all my content to both. And then that way, if someone doesn't use YouTube, but they use the other one, they can still see all my other stuff that I make. And that platform right now, I'm still looking at a couple, but one that I'm going to, I've already started a page on, is minds.com, minds.com. And this here is just about done. Let's see. How much is... Let's see if I hear it. Oh, there's just a little more. So, like I said, I'm not leaving YouTube. I'm going to stay with YouTube. But if they ever decide they don't want me on their platform because I don't agree with their viewpoints on certain issues, they could kick me off. And since I'm trying to make this my full-time gig, it only makes sense for me to have a backup already established that I can go to. And that way I'm not losing anything whenever if they drop me. I hope they don't. I want to stay here. I don't want to get kicked off. But there's certain things videos and stuff that I'm going to want to make that YouTube may not like. So, because of that, you can find me on minds.com. Link down in the description. I'm also looking at Rumble. I haven't looked at it a whole lot yet, but Rumble's a direct competitor to YouTube. Their whole goal is to become the next YouTube, basically, or an alternative to YouTube. I haven't really looked into them a whole lot yet, but it's one I've been told I should check out, so I'm going to check them out as well. If you have any other ideas, any other platforms you think I should be on, drop them in the comments below, and I will check them out. Granted, I don't want to be on every single platform because that's a lot to manage, but I will pick a couple most popular ones, probably the ones that give me the best options. So, this is train. It's a lot heavier now. There's quite a bit in there. Now, what we got to do is we got to fill it back up. In order to fill this, the correct way to do it is to have the jack upright, and then you fill to this fill hole here. So we got to fill that up. So we're going to need a way to get it in. All right, so what we're going to try out is this multi-use transfer pump. I picked it up when I got the hydraulic oil. Got this from Lowe's. Got the hydraulic oil from Lowe's. We're going to see if it'll work. see what kind of hoses it has. They might be a little big. Let's open it up here and see. Is there anything more hateful than this type of packaging? It's clamshell plastic. I hate it so much. It's terrible packaging. But I understand why they do it. It's cheap. It's easy. But not for us. It's not easy. It's easy for the manufacturer. I still hate it. Okay, I think this is right. We'll see what happens. We are experimenting today. Take the jack, rest it up right here. Hydraulic oil. Put that so you guys can see it. So red hose in the fluid, red hose coming out. Then there's this little plastic cone. It's stuck in here right now. Little plastic cone that goes down inside, and then this black tube. See if you can see that little plastic cone there. Black tube then goes down into that. Put that in there good. It'll hold fairly well. I had one blowout, but otherwise it worked fairly well. Before I clean off my hands completely, I'm going to put the plug back in. I filled it up until oil just started to run out the bottom. I look in there, I can see oil right at the bottom of this hole, so I know that it's good and full. You don't want to fill it up past the hole. You don't want to fill it on its side. It needs to be standing up, because if you have too much, it's not going to work right. The plug, if you need a new one, make sure you use a new one. I can reuse this. It's going to be difficult to get in, especially to get started. Just kind of work it in. Just one hand to put pressure on it, and then like your thumbnail or small screwdriver or something to compress the plug into the hole. Twist it a little. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, that's the ticket. Twist it in. There we go. Okay. Plugs in. Oil's everywhere. Job well done. All right, so I'm gonna just wipe the excess oil that came out on here. Just wipe it off. I'm not super concerned about getting the oil off because living in Florida, high humidity, the oil actually will help it. I mean, it's already starting to rust, and I'm gonna clean it off later, but until then, oil might help it not rust quite as much. Okay, pick that up, put that in. Again, remember the long bolt goes on the bottom. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna have to jack it up just a little bit in order to get that top one in. Let's make sure we're good and tight on this. All right, now we're just going to jack it up a little bit so that these will line up. Okay, a little more. All right, put the washer back on, nut back on top. I'm gonna tighten this down. Doesn't need to be super tight, but when it good and snug. just like that. Now this bottom one, I'm just going to put the nut on for now, just so it sticks on there, because I do know I got to replace that. And away she goes. Now, I don't know if it was because the old fluid had water in it, or if it was just low. It definitely was low. It wasn't full. I probably could have tried filling it all the way first, but just because it's obvious it had been stored outside, I went ahead and decided to completely replace all the fluid. So now it goes from here down to there is the actual area that you're doing work in. So it definitely is better. It is a lot better. We'll test it here in a second, make sure it holds weight. All right, so let's check and see, make sure it still holds weight. Make sure we didn't break it. All right, guys, so we got the engine hoist up and running again. $30 engine hoist, plus the price of cleanup, and well, I got some hydraulic fluid sprayed all over my shirt, so I'm gonna have to explain that one to the wife. Hopefully she'll be able to get that out. 30 bucks for this though is a pretty good deal. It goes for $249 from Harbor Freight, so I'm pretty happy with this. We'll be putting it to work in later videos on the 93 Ford F1 or Ford Ranger, not F-150. It's Ford Ranger, 93 Ford Ranger. Got to pull the engine out on that, like I mentioned previously in the video. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. Share it with all your friends who may have one of these. Maybe they have a broken bottle jack that they need to repair. One last thing real quick, don't forget to check us out over on minds.com, minds.com. I will see you guys over there. I will be posting stuff there, hopefully fairly regularly. Obviously, every single video is going to get posted there. And there also is probably going to be some behind-the-scenes stuff there as well. And of course, you can always support me on patreon.com/TheNateTake. So until next time, this is Nathan, signing off.